Hey guys, how are you guys doing? Hey, thought I would try out going live on YouTube. It's my first time doing this. It's been kind of a crazy day today, but wanted to kind of come in and I have three questions I want you to ask yourself when it comes to finances. So if you didn't know, I'm a multi tax franchisees owner, and that's the name of my brand right there behind me. And I've actually been here doing some work today. And when I come into work, I like to have something that's playing in the background as I'm working. And today I had a pretty cool video that I was watching. And so I wanted to go over these three questions with you because I thought they were pretty important, and maybe give you guys a little bit of advice as well. So, number one, do you guys want to make money? So, being a tax accountant, people either have an income problem or they have a tax problem. A lot of times I find right now is more and more people are starting to have an income problem versus a tax problem. And so something that you kind of need to ask yourself and kind of go down that path. And number two, after question number one, question number two would be, how much money do you want to make? And so this varies person to person, situation to situation, time in life, education, things like that. But are you looking, when it comes to making money, do you need to make just a little bit extra to maybe get your nails done, your hair done, or maybe go golfing on the weekends, maybe go out to dinner every once in a while to a fancy restaurant? Or are you looking for a side gig that could provide more income that would help make or take over a car payment, make a house payment, or take over a house payment? So that you can start having extra money come in so that you can set that additional money aside for future events. And number three, are you prepared to think big, even if it takes you a little bit of time? So I know that most people, and this is a question that I'm trying to want you to think about, what are your short-term goals versus your long-term goals? But most people have a very short time frame. I know a lot of people, they try a side gig and then they quit after maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month. And then there's others that'll stick it out for the long term and they're willing to go through all the battles, the hard times, your mind being beat up because people tell you that you should quit. So kind of going over those and kind of thought about those for myself. And as for question number one, yes, I definitely want to make money. And I'm in the tax industry, and last year or coming into this year, we actually took a pretty big hit financially. The government changed a lot of the tax forms, try to simplify them. So it had more and more people sitting at home doing their taxes, on their own, on their phone or on their own computers and things like that. And so I've actually been trying to figure out ways that I can bring in a little bit more money to number one, provide for my family, but also help cover some of the long-term dreams and things like that I have personally. So as far as making more money, yes, absolutely. I want to make more money and definitely willing and prepared to put in the long-term hours that are needed. So kind of had a good insight on how to break this down. And so if you look at things from a year one, a year two, a year three, a year four, and a year five. So most people need to sit down and plan out a 5-year goal. But typically what's going to happen is your first year, you're going to put in 90% of your own efforts and only get a 10% return. And so kind of looking at things, I've been doing a lot of investing with an app that I'll show you here in a second. But I'm starting to notice like it's going to take 90% of my time and my effort to go in and research some stocks that I want. And I'm going to go in and it's going to be very small. I'm going to put in a little bit of money. And it's going to take time for that to kind of grow and grow and grow. So I'm going to have to go out and work, just get a little bit of extra money to kind of put in to start these investments. But then by year two, you're going to put in 75% of your efforts to get 25% of your money. And so as these strategies that come into play, as I start to learn about investing, things like that, and which stocks I'm going to invest into, which cryptocurrencies I'm going to invest into, I'm starting to see that as I start to learn more and more, I'm putting a little bit of more effort, but now some of the payoffs are starting to come in. By year 3, it's about a 50-50, effort versus return. And then as we get into year 4, things kind of start to switch on that. Have you ever seen those balls that are kind of lined up and then one hits and then it kind of hits? So you get to the other side of the pendulum in year 4, and it seems like 25% of your efforts will now generate 75% of your income. By the time we get to year 5, we're only going to have to invest 10% of our time to start getting 90% of these returns, and which is pretty cool. So a lot of times, going back to year 1, it's a 90-10. So a lot of times we have all that effort, all that time that has to be invested into producing more income or learning about something, that a lot of us quit because things get hard. We don't want to invest the time. Our time is more valuable doing something else. And I know it's hard. I got a family of 6, got 4 kids, and I have 3 kids in competitive soccer, which is basically practice every week, every couple days. Then we got games. Now we're moving into high school and competitive. And so I understand that time can get very well occupied. But what I'm starting to learn, and when I first got out of college, actually, I read a book from Robert Kiyosaki that talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and kind of going into things. That's kind of why I went down the path I did, is I was hoping to build up a tax business that I could staff and have employees coming in doing the work, and all I had to do is just be the CEO of my business. But I'm kind of starting to figure out that, I think during that time I was looking for a residual income way of life that, you could just go and have a rental property and it's just going to kick out enough money to cover all your expenses for the rest of your life. And I've started to notice that only happens for a very select few people that maybe were at the right place at the right time, or, they had, just different opportunities that kind of put them in that position to be able to live that residual life. But for me, it just hasn't happened. I own 2 tax franchises, and there's days and months that, there's not enough at the end of the month financially. And it's like, how? Like, I own 2 tax franchises. This was the path that I'm supposed to go, and everything's going to work out great. But, things change, tax code changes. And so now we have to sit back and readjust. And so it's been a little bit mind challenging. I'm not going to lie, over the past little bit. And it's like I thought, I did everything the right way. I went to college. I went and I got a good job. I went and bought a couple franchises. Everything's supposed to be on the up and up for me. But I am starting to realize that more and more people are struggling to pay their bills. I see a lot of it. A lot of people come in to get their taxes done, and they can't afford to have their taxes done. But all we can do is be positive, be hopeful, and things are going to get better down the road. But a lot of times we just have to create our own opportunities. If like for me, if money's a little bit down, I have to find something else to maybe make that income back. Spend a little bit more time versus being able to spend a little bit more time with my family. So I've actually been doing a couple of things, and you can see right now, this is my TradingView account. Actually, I don't know if you can even see this because the camera's looking at me, but maybe we'll go into that. I'll shoot another video. That's been doing a little bit of investing into Bitcoin and some dividend paying stocks. And my goal is to, when I invest in like a Bitcoin, I'm looking for a daily return that I can make anywhere from 1% to 2% on my money, just like that on the day. Today's been super flat, which has been kind of frustrating. It's been like this for about the past 3 days, but I've been doing a lot of charting and reviewing a lot of charts on when to buy and when to sell out of different positions when I go into the cryptocurrencies. Then also on the dividend side, which stocks can I buy that are going to hold their value but create and generate quarterly dividend. So I'm hoping I can build up those quarterly dividends to start covering some of the bills I have to pay as I start to grow. So I know year 1, be putting in a lot of money, but I'm not going to be getting that big payout on the dividends. Become year 5, that's when 90% is going to start to kick in. And doing taxes, I've actually seen a lot of people that have been able to go from a low income to millionaire status in 5 years. So I know it's doable. It's definitely something that you can do. It's just getting out there, studying, getting yourself in the right place, the right time, and looking for those opportunities. But really want to just share that with you. 3 quick tips. Number 1, do you want to make money? Number 2, how much money do you want to make? And number 3, are you prepared to think big, even if it takes a little bit more time? Are you looking for more income, less, little bit of income, a lot of income? Are you willing to, are you wanting this in the short term, or do you have a long-term perspective? So kind of break that down, write down those numbers, year 1, year 2, year 3, 4, 5, the efforts versus your time. But the number 1 goal has always been, would you rather have 1% of your income, or would you rather make income off of 1% of your time and energy, or 100 people's time and energy? Or would you rather have 100% of your money coming in from 100% of your own work? So that's the way it is right now with my franchise. The store that I'm at right now, I'm the 100% owner. I have to do 100% of the work to bring in 100% of the income. But I have another store that's set up where I have employees running it. So I'd rather make a little bit of money off of their efforts, and I can make that residual income. So kind of the benefit of being the boss, right? But just wanted to share that with you. Really wanted to try out the live, see how it looks. Just thought I'd share that information with you. If you're finding any value in these videos, check out some of my other ones as well. Definitely shoot me a like, throw in a comment, anything like that. So definitely would love a little bit of feedback as we grow this channel. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. We're going to end the stream.